In today's video, I wanted to look at a subject which, when I asked for comments from the watch community, range from those wanting to castrate the subject matter by weakening their influence, and those who celebrate their ability to source any watch for a price. I'm talking of course about scalpers. The term also caused a little confusion with some like Ahmed who asked, "What do those terms mean? Sorry, I'm green." Well Ahmed, unless you've eaten a bowl of gamma flakes or a dodgy takeaway, you're not green buddy, it's just the idiosyncrasies of the English language. Put quite simply Ahmed, a scalper or black marketeer is someone who buys something at the regular price and then sells the item at a much higher price, often when they are more difficult to get. When a watch collector or enthusiast hears about a great new watch, only to find it out of stock before they can even boot up their devices, it can lead to a sense of disappointment, frustration, or even anger, with lots of this emotion directed towards the scalper. It's bad enough when this happens once, but what if it keeps happening again and again? You begin to wonder if you may indeed be the unluckiest person since my grandpa died from a Viagra overdose. At his funeral we still couldn't close his casket. While many guests saw the funny side of his passing, Grandma took it really hard. Scalpers are different from watch traders or private sellers in that they constantly position themselves between the customer and watch companies to buy and drive up the price of watches. By buying up highly anticipated and in-demand watches, they become scarce, which allows the scalper to resell them at an inflated price. While scalping is not technically illegal, it probably isn't something you would proudly wear on a t-shirt. Many comments cited the launch of the Moonswatch as their first experience of a scalper, as was the case with Donna, who witnessed the more cynical side of their trade. "We were at a wedding last year in London, the day of an evening release. There were lots of paid people in the queue, from very, very early in the morning," said Donna. "There was no way you was going to pick one up, as we passed the shop several times," she said. Scalpers are also becoming more sophisticated in how they obtain watches, with many using bot technology to purchase a highly anticipated watch within seconds of them hitting the market, totally outcompeting legitimate buyers. As Peter rightly states, as long as there is demand, there will be supply. That simple. Demand, which is usually met by the scalper, Peter. While we often view wheeler dealers as lovable scallywags making a quick buck from the back of a van, modern scalpers are far more likely to be entrepreneurs working from home who exploit opportunities in the watch market. I spoke with a seller who asked not to be named, and he told me that he disliked the term scalper. He saw himself more as a middleman, running a legit business. He told me that he worked hard to source hard to find watches, and that he has helped many watch enthusiasts and collectors get their hands on sought after timepieces, who would otherwise have missed out. And to be fair, his argument has some merit. For his service he felt that it was only right that he be rewarded accordingly, and yet again it is hard to disagree with this argument, which Fred echoed in his comment. As for resellers, aka scalpers, hate the game not the player. If someone wants to pay a premium for something they did or could not stand in line for, that's up to them. And if someone wants to charge for getting up early and standing in line, that's up to them. And even though I came away with a better understanding of the scalper's role, I declined his offer to buy a Metallica Sanitarium at 1000% markup. I am personally indifferent towards scalpers. A reseller sold me my much desired and sought after Casio Manga at a slightly inflated price, which is similar to Manic Steve's experience as a seller. From someone who has bought and sold, I bought both mangas when they were released, and we all know they all sold out. Long story short, they were both sold to Aussie buyers and I profited from both. I guess where there's demand there is a market. Could I have held on and tripled my original profit? Perhaps, but it really wasn't my goal. So good for you, Manic Steve. I've seen mangas sold at almost double their face value, so the price I paid was what I considered to be fair. The seller made a few quid, both parties were happy with the transaction, which is a sentiment reflected in Adrian Smallville Kent's comment. The only thing I bought from Scalpers was the Moonswatch when it came out, cause my mum loved it and I couldn't get one. You're a good boy, Adrian, looking after your mum Martha like that. Other watch enthusiasts had wildly varying opinions on scalpers, ranging from a general acceptance out of necessity like Sean, who accepts that scalpers are sometimes a convenient necessity. Sometimes you may want a swatch that is only in the shops that are miles away. So you may use scalpers to get that watch, but you pay higher prices for it. I try not to use scalpers and travel to my local shop or wait until I travel there. Joseph's valuable insight on the subject consists of him giving poor Sean a hard time because of his grammar. I am doing research for a video on bad grammar and sentence construction. I welcome your opinion, he says. Obviously, Joseph also knows how many grammar Nazis it takes to change a light bulb. 2. Thankfully, Joseph wasn't privy to Marquet's comment on the $1 Timex 175th anniversary watch. If you want a great example of what the general industry thinks of scalpers, have a look through Timex's Instagram posts from when they launched the $1 watch last year, he says. I'm sure there were some interesting comments. The $1 watch is currently selling at a 60,000% markup, making scalpers about as popular as taking a sauna with Prince Andrew. Chris R from the US had a more measured opinion of scalpers.
I take care of my kid. Wait. Always want credit for something they're supposed to do.
Tyson gave this detailed and eloquent response on his opinion on scalpers. Easy, scalpers suck. It's also important that we mention the scalpers' fellow collaborators, the watch companies. There are certain watch brands where scalping doesn't seem to pose a problem. In fact, it's almost encouraged. At the end of the day, watches are for sale. Money is exchanged, and the company sells all their watches to scalpers. Lovely jubbly. The scalper gets a nice little earner, the watch companies create hype over the watch, it sells out, and the scarcity of the watch boosts the brand's image. It also creates the perception of exclusivity and desirability around these watches, allowing them to drive up interest and the price for future releases. Everyone's a winner, except of course us poor watch punters. Scalping can also leave genuine collectors vulnerable to scammers who sell poor knockoffs, leaving them with a negative and cynical view of the watch industry. Many people I spoke to vented their anger and frustration towards certain watch brands, who I won't name, but they appear to be drifting towards watch releases which never seem to be available to the general public or at a realistic price. When watch brands act unsympathetically and feed the scalpers more stock, they risk alienating their historic customers, and they lose both interest and their loyalty to a brand, which is another great point made by Donna. I think swatches are getting very ridiculous in these marketing strategies. It's not good, annoying people, collectors who can't get to a shop with these sales mechanisms. Well said, Donna. These are risky marketing strategies for many companies, as the long-lasting success of a watch brand surely lies with the satisfaction and hard-earned trust of its loyal customer base. Watch brands also contribute to the scalping problem by intentionally limiting production, creating artificial scarcity and driving demand. Some brands also fail to implement adequate measures to protect genuine customers like Matthew, who states, "I live here in Vegas and I hate going to the releases here because of all those resellers. But, and it's a big but, there are measures which can be put in place to protect customers. Dedicated sale windows, which is a method used by Mr. Jones watches, provides exclusive purchase windows for their loyal customers and reduces the impact of scalpers on the market. If watch numbers are to be limited, then a lottery system where interested customers go into draw for a highly anticipated release and successful applicants are given the opportunity to purchase the watch within a certain time frame, and is a far more equitable way to sell a watch and limit the supply for the scalpers. Watch companies could also increase their production and release sufficient stock to meet demand, which would significantly reduce the impact of the scalper. Unfortunately, it appears that brands like Casio seem content with releasing limited numbers and territory-specific releases, leaving us punters with little choice but to use scalpers. Watch brands have a crucial role to play in mitigating the impact of scalping by prioritising the needs of their loyal customer base. There are those who see scalpers as modern day heroes, as they help them source rare or sought after watches, and for them, the fair price for a watch is whatever someone is willing to pay. Scalping is a complex issue with no easy answers. While some see scalpers as legitimate businessmen, their activities often create some degree of frustration and unfairness in the watch market. Ultimately, whether or not you use the services of a scalper is a choice, not a necessity. As Stretch Armstrong once said, "No one is twisting your arm." Today's Facebook members watch is an absolute doozy, and it had me totally flummoxed when I first saw it. This Timex TWTU9 Waterbury, sent in by Blake Welsh, who isn't Welsh, but he did watch an episode of Welcome to Wrexham, sent me some photos of his watch. And while it looks like a tribute to Prince, it is in fact navy blue, which had me fooled from the photos Blake originally sent me. Blake says it's multiple colours depending on the light. This 21 Jewel Beauty, with its Myota 8 series movement, is a watch which Blake states he will never sell. So thanks for sharing your precious watch, Blake. It's much appreciated, mate. As a fledgling YouTube channel, we are delighted to have reached 1,000 subscribers in just a few short months. I would personally like to thank all of the following who have supported and contributed to this channel thus far. Much love. Until the next time.